The Detroit Pistons need to be taken seriously. Enough with the Cinderella's BS. No, this team is a threat in the East, in the Middle East. The Pistons are a threat in the Middle East. This team, like, they just beat the Cavs without Cade Cunningham. Let that sink in, please.
At the rebound, Tim Hardaway Jr. for three, and that one Pistons. Tim Hardaway Jr. with another triple. Here's Mobley from the corner. Hardaway splashes it down.
Hardaway scored 32 points last night, which was a season high, and the Pistons beat the Eastern Conference leading Cleveland Cavaliers 133-122, guaranteeing their first winning season since 2016. They haven't had a winning season in like 9 years. Not even like, you know, below 500, like 8 seed. No, this winning record in general. When I saw this, it blew my mind. I was just like, who the hell was the GM of the Pistons? The Charlotte Hornets? For 9 years? How can you not root for this team? How can you not root for this? Like, this is a team that has every quality that you desire. Tough, they're grit. They have the star, the superstar. Sorry, I meant no disrespect to Cade. The superstar in Cade Cunningham. But not only that, they're deep. They have an 8-man rotation for the playoffs. They got young bucks getting ready to take the next step, along with Cade. Hey man, I'm not jealous. I'm more good for you. Like good. The Pistons, man. Good for the entire city of Detroit. They deserve this. They deserve this, dude. It just goes to show that like rebuilding in the NBA is just. It's never a guarantee, you know, like you can either, be, suffering in anguish for the rest of your life, or you can do a historic turnaround and have the entire NBA glaze you. And the Pistons did both. I'm rooting for the Pistons, dude. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I truly appreciate it. So this is the current playoff picture right now in the East. And as you can see, like the Pistons right now, they're fifth. I wouldn't say they're locked in as the 5th seed, because the Bucks are right behind them. Granted, the Bucks did unfortunately lose Damian Lillard. Dude, that was a tough one right there. I'm not going to lie. That was a tough one. But the Pistons are slowly creeping up on the Pacers, who would be their first round matchup in the playoffs. And honestly, this matchup would be super... It would be one of the most intense matchups in the entire NBA in the first round. Definitely the best matchup in the first round in the East. But in the West, like, even though the Pacers themselves are hot, they're a really good team. The Pistons, I'm not going to jinx it. I have a tendency to jinx on this channel. But anyways, the Pistons are only 1.5 games behind the Pacers. Home court advantage is imperative in the playoffs. I mean, ideally, the Pistons are going to do everything they can to get that home court advantage against the Pacers, because it looks like that's going to be their first round matchup. But, stranger things happen. And I also wanted to show this too to a lot of Pistons fans who may or may not be watching this video. But in order to do so, the Pistons' remaining schedule is as follows. They have 8 games left in the season, right? They have also the 3rd most difficult schedule in the entire NBA. According to tankathon.com, I don't know, it's a reputable website, dude. It's a good website. Their opponent winning percentage is 57%, .573. It's like, a middling playoff team that they're playing for the rest of the year. So, it could go both ways, though, because it's also like a good test for the Pistons, to make sure that they're up to par, they're playing good, playing up to their standards. So when the playoff kicks in, they're already in gear mode. They're already in attack mode. So, it's either or, but, I'm just letting you know that they have the 3rd most difficult schedule right now in the NBA for the rest of the season. So what caused me to make this video was... the stat that went viral last night, honestly. A lot of stats been going viral in the NBA. But this one right here, how the Pistons tripled their winnings record in 1 year. The first time ever in NBA history. And when I saw that, I was just like, damn, like, you've had to be so bad your first year to go from there to where they're at now. And granted, the Pistons did this with 8 games remaining in their schedule. So like they're obviously going to improve on that. But like, just like Jesus Christ, like I want to use the word historic, and I am going to use it in the thumbnail because it is. It is. I don't think I've ever seen a team where there's always a Cinderella team every single year in the NBA, but this is different. The Pistons were the laughingstock of the year of the entire NBA last year, along with my Wizards. But they've gone from being a laughingstock to now they are the ones being feared. And what I mean by that is I can tell, like, in the beginning of the season, especially till now, like, they were like the Cinderella story. I feel like that's got to be over with now. The Cinderella story is only going to get you so far. Now you're going to go from Cinderella to being feared. And it's kind of like, usually that stage takes like a year, 2 years or so. But it feels like the Pistons are doing that within the same season, if that makes sense. That's how fast this rebuilding rate is going in Detroit. And it's very, very commendable. And I'm not saying the Pistons are going to win the championship. And I'm not saying that they're going to make the Eastern Conference Finals. But I am saying is that the term feared means that they had the capability to win at least a playoff round. And I think they can. I'm not saying they're going to beat the Pacers because that's going to be a really tough matchup. But the idea that from being a Cinderella story that makes it to the 8-7 seed and gets bounced in the first round to now just making the playoffs, and not only that, but being expected to make noise in the playoffs, that to me has been done in a record amount of time in Detroit. Like I said earlier, the Pistons played without Cade Cunningham last night, and they were still able to beat the Cavs, who they've had themselves a 12-game losing streak to. The last time the Pistons beat the Cavaliers was in 2022. February 2022, if my math is mathin'. Yeah. Who was the coach back then? J.V. Bickerstaff for the Cavaliers. The circle of life. The circle of life. Now, like, look at that. He was in a toxic relationship, pieced out, was like, you know what? I'm going to settle for this chick in Detroit. Goes to Detroit, falls in love. They're getting married, having babies, having joint car insurance, joint bank accounts. They're thriving. The Pistons are now on a 3-game winning streak, and they got even ESPN talking about them.
I want no parts of this Detroit Pistons team. Now, full disclosure, over the last few months, I have developed a mildly unhealthy, obsessive love over this Detroit Pistons team.
Man, I have a terminal Pistons disorder. The fuck, my newfound love for the Pistons is gonna kill me in 9 business days.
Last night they won. They have now 3 times as many wins as they had last season. That's the first time any team has done that, and a lot of that is that defense. Top 3 defense since the All-Star break.
Jalen Duren himself, 16 points, 13 rebounds. Asar Thompson, 18 points, 10 boards for Detroit. Asar Thompson was like, manning the paint for Detroit last night. That's insane. A guy who's 6'7", manning 2 crucial blocks last night. But on top of that, the Pistons failed to win 25 games in the last 5 seasons. I'm just reading stats that I find online. Like, Jesus, 25. I feel like I'm reminded by this constantly. In a rebuilding team, obviously you need the young blue chip players, or the young players, the young talented bucks. But what's just as imperative are the veterans on the squad. That's just as imperative, just as important, because if you don't have those veterans, those young bucks, who are they going to look up to? Like, look at the Hornets. This is a team that's been in perpetual NBA purgatory for the past 40 years. And that's because they're not building correctly. A guy like Brandon Miller should be balling right now. LaMelo Ball should have been bursted out into an NBA team or an all-NBA team. But the Pistons did this now. And I don't want to make no shots toward the Hornets, but they pissed me off. The Hornets pissed me off because they have a lot of talent. But anyways, I don't know. The Pistons, they got Cade, obviously. He's still really young. Asar Thompson. Ron Holland. Ron Holland's a boss. Jalen Duren. They got guys who, are Jaden Ivey. People forget about Jaden Ivey. But, they got guys who are still improving, including Cade. He took a big step this year, and I'll get to that a little bit later. But the Pistons also incorporated that with guys like Malik Beasley, guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., guys like, Tobias Harris, guys with winning experience. Brought that over to the Pistons. Got a good coach. it's all about the environment for the young bucks. That's the most important thing. Like, I feel like even a dumb buffoon like me, like, I keep getting reminded about that each and every single rebuild that goes successful in the NBA. Another stat that I found about the Pistons is that, you know, if they were to win at least 3 more games, they would reach 45 victories, which would be the first time since 2007 and 2028 season for them. And that season, they won 59 games. And let's talk about Cade. Let's finish this video with Cade Cunningham. Man's been putting up, not only made the All-Star for the first time, but he's been putting up all NBA numbers right now. He has to be an all-NBA player, in my opinion. I mean, he's number 8 in the MVP rankings. Number 8. A team that finished last year with the worst record in the NBA now has an MVP-type player on their roster. That's insane right there. The Pistons, man, as a diehard Wizards fan, I feel like I said that every single video. I gotta stop doing that. The Pistons, they gave me hope. They gave me hope that anything is possible.
Now getting into the painted area, goes behind the back, turns it over. Little foot race here. Ivy, 3-on-1, lobs it up, and Cade Cunningham there for the flush. Anything's possible! Let's go back to Jaden Ivy.
I'm dying. I have to. Cooper Flag. Oh, Cooper Flag. I have to root for the Pistons in the playoffs. I have to. My West team was the Rockets. The Pistons are my East team now. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I truly appreciate it. Damn.
Detroit basketball!